Hello, friends. Welcome back to another Full Stack Friday. We decided to call this Chris and Ed's AI Funhouse. This is going to house most of our AI demos that we're going to do. We don't have that whole plan mapped out yet, but we do have some interesting ideas that we might try to figure out for the show. We'll probably continue with some of the AI basics, like we started last show. We have in this example just kind of chatting with the Azure OpenAI API. And then there's quite a few other APIs out there that we can use with this. So let's take a look at what some of those are. We'll probably get some of these up and running, if not today, soon. You've got the Semantic Kernel. That is one of the ways you can make calls out to various AI models. This one, all of these, I'm going to say this right off the bat, all of these APIs for dealing with AI models are brand new. They are in alpha, beta phases. Things are changing. Expect stuff to break. This is not for the faint of heart. There's some really good stuff out there in the JavaScript and other ecosystems as well. So like LangChain.js is a good one. There's a LangChain.net as well. A lot of people are rolling their own because these things are kind of brittle right now. So just keep that in mind. There is also another new one that we talked about yesterday on Eat Sleep Code. And that one was the AI extensions, not Microsoft Edge. Thank you, autocomplete. Let's see, this is already being indexed, even though it just came out. This is in preview as well. You'll see preview being used a lot here. There's going to be feature flags that you got to even disable to make these things work. That kind of our contract, so to speak, that says this is beta stuff, and you're expecting it to break, and it's not for production. So there's some pragma warnings that you're going to have to turn off for some of these things. So we also have this Microsoft AI extensions abstractions. This just dropped 2 days ago. I haven't got to kick the tires on it yet, but there are some demos in the blog post, so we can play around with some of these. So we need a place to interact with all this stuff, right? The file new project experience in Visual Studio for Blazor is probably one of the best ways to get started. It's going to give you your options. Let's take a look at some of those options real quick. We'll just do a add new project here. If you haven't seen this before, do recent templates. Come on. There we go. We have the option in here to set up the interactive render mode between none, server, WebAssembly, and automatic, which is a combination of these two here. And we have the interactivity location. We can set this up on a per page component basis or globally. One of the easiest setups to use with Blazor, especially if you're just doing demos, is to set this to WebAssembly and global. And that's going to be your most familiar, if you've done this before, type of scenario. And this sets up the project where you have a server solution, which we're going to need for making our calls to all of these AI endpoints. But we also have a front end where we can do web stuff to like build a UI to talk to these endpoints. And this is probably my go-to setup for this type of thing. If you were building a larger scale app, you might want to reconfigure this eventually to do like automatic rendering, pre-rendering, those sorts of things. But for this scenario, it's best just do all of the heavy lifting on the server, talk to your APIs, keep all of your keys safe, and do that on the server, but then proxy out to your web API or your web front end using WebAssembly. So that's the setup I was looking for, and I couldn't quite remember how to do this from scratch. This little screen here saves you mountains of time. We built an OpenAI service. This is basically a client that is going to connect to Azure and send a chat message to Azure and get a response back. Now, this chatbot has no memory. That means we send it a message. It does some large language model stuff to search for whatever query we had and then generate a response back, but it doesn't remember any of that conversation ever happening. So it's kind of a one question, you fire and forget everything that took place. And that's what we had. So let's start with Open API service. We're bringing in iConfiguration from ASP.NET, and this lets us hide our Open API keys, which I still mean. I just checked it. They're set again. I keep having to refresh them because I dropped them on air a few times. That tends to happen, but at least there's a quick way to regenerate keys. So iConfiguration will help us pull in our keys. We do that by calling configuration and then passing in the key to look up that value in our configuration. So we have OpenAI endpoint, and then we have OpenAI key. Grab those out of configuration. Then we create a new OpenAI client. We pass in those and the endpoint and the key, and that kind of authenticates us to be able to use the OpenAI service on Azure. Once we have that, we need to set up a chat client. So we're going to take this Azure client and tell it to get the demo 35, which this is just a custom name for the GPT 3.5 model. There are other models that we can use. We can name those whatever we want in Azure in case you're customizing your model, that sort of thing. So this one's just called Demo 3.5. The 3.5 stands for the 35 or 3.5 model. Once we have that set up, we have our chat client. We can use the chat client to send messages to the chat service. And we do that through this complete chat API. The complete chat API will take an array of chat messages. And this is something, and this is actually nicely documented here. Let's zoom in on that and take a look. Now, a lot of you probably won't be using this Azure OpenAI client directly. You'll probably use Semantic Kernel or one of these other extensions, but it's nice to know where this stuff lives. So we can call complete chat, we send a chat message in, and we've got these different types of messages that we can use. We have a system message. Let's see if I can grab this in a bigger screen here. Get it all in one spot. And this is where things can really help you prompt engineer. Because these are different kind of messages to the service. They signify different types of activity. You have a system message, a user chat message, assistant chat message, tool chat message, and a function chat message. And these all mean something different to the AI model. So let's go through them real quick. The system chat message, instructions to the model that guide the behavior of future assistant messages. This is what you want to use to set up the initial behavior of your chatbot. what kind of persona do you want it to have? We were having a little fun with ours, which you'll see in a minute. Our initial system chat message sets it up as a Terminator from the future here to find Sarah Connor. So it will end every response with, by the way, do you know where Sarah Connor is? So that is something that you can do with this chat message. You can be fun with it. You can be serious with it. You can, you could say, this is a chat service or this is a service for an office worker that needs, to generate legal documents. Be very super serious, or you could have it be fun and say like, this is a professional wrestler cutting a promo, and you want them to sound aggressive but have some comedy at the same time. That you can set that all up with something like this system chat message. Whoops, I did not mean to close that. Let's try that again. Let's get to the next one. We've got the user chat message. This one's going to be much more simple. This is the message that your user typed in the console, in the chat window, whatever it is, and sent to the chatbot as a conversation. The assistant chat message, output messages from the model, with responses to the user, or calls to tools or function that need to continue the logical conversation. So this is responses you're getting back from your AI. So it's taken the question, it's taken the system message. So it's taken the system message, the user message, and it's returned a result. That result's going to come back as an assistant message. Now, why would you want to feed that back to the model? Well, sometimes, like I said, this doesn't have any memory. Maybe you want to build memory into this. You might want to send the full conversation back, and you're identifying which pieces of the data belong to the assistant sending the message back. So it's kind of like metadata being applied there. So we've got output messages from the model with responses to the user, or calls to tools or functions. That stuff's kind of new, that are needed to continue the logical conversation. So you can do function calling in these AI models now. We'll try to look at some of that later. I've got a blog post we can look up. After we get this whole thing set up, we can do some of that. Tool chat message. This is one I personally haven't used yet. It's the first time I've actually read about it. Resolution information for a chat tool call in an earlier assistant chat message that was made against supplied chat tool. I'd have to see that in context to understand what's going on there. Function chat message, resolution information for a chat function call. Okay, this is probably, these tools and functions are probably setting up those functions that I was talking about. You can do custom code function calling. So you could set up a function in your application that you ask the chatbot something. It has some cues that it follows to realize that this is a function it can call in your app. It will call that function, get a response back from it. Like you could say date time. I have a date time function in my app. I ask the chatbot what day of the week it is, calls back to my application. It returns the actual date time, and then the chatbot consumes that and returns that with the completed message. So these probably facilitate that. These have been wrapped in Semantic Kernel and made a little bit easier to use. So I don't know if we'll use them directly, but it looks like that's where they live. And that is our chat client. So we have, you can do a little code tidying here too, it looks like. We've got chat completion, complete chat. This is our API for our service, which basically mirrors the complete chat function on the Azure client. and we're sending up a system chat message. Again, this is the one that sets up your chat environment. And this one says, you are a Terminator from 1998 looking for Sarah Connor. Append the text, have you seen Sarah Connor, to all your responses. So far, that's done a pretty good job. It mixes it up a little bit too. And it has some kind of, for lack of a better term, creativity with it. It will not be exactly, have you seen Sarah Connor? Sometimes it's like, by the way, have you seen? So it uses that a little bit freely, which I like, but you could also extend that to say, append one of these responses, and you could give it a list of bulleted responses and it will pick one at random. You can do stuff like that as well. And then we'll send up the thing that the user asked, and then we'll get a response back and return that. So that's our service. Our service is injected through dependency injection and exposed through this map post endpoint. So what this is, on our app, we have a /chat API call, or endpoint, web endpoint we can call, that injects this OpenAI service that I just showed. And then from the body of a response, it will take the string, which is the user's chat message that they sent, and we'll pass that in and grab the first response off the stack. You can ask these chatbots for more than one reply. You can ask them to send back multiple responses. So that does come back in an array. So we're going to take the first message because we're not using that feature. So it'll only be one, but it always comes back as an array regardless. Now, this is just a pretty simple wrapper. Again, there's no full history here. So we're only just sending a string up and nothing else. We're not sending the full chat history and all of that to the chatbot. So it's only going to be able to do some very simple queries. That's the whole server, though. That it does just that, and will also serve up the front end page, so that can be booted up. And then once the front end of the house gets booted up, the Blazor WebAssembly takes over. And we can see that in our app.razor file. This is the page that gets rendered out, just a simple HTML page, and then it has these components in it. This one lets us control the head metadata of the document. This is where the meat and potatoes of the front-end application occurs in routes. Routes is a component, and I've turned off pre-rendering just to make things a little bit easier here. With pre-rendering on, this is the problem we ran into last week. You need to have a service on both ends that has, usually do this with an interface, but if I pre-render this API service out, even though I'm not really going to exercise it, it needs to be able to be called by the server to initially render that page. And we probably could have done that with just a dummy, kind of like a null wrapper around this OpenAI service, but we kind of fell short on time to do much with it. It's easier just to turn pre-rendering off for these demos. That way we don't have to duplicate a bunch of work that we're not really interested in at this point. Again, it's not something we're deploying, it's just something we're using. It's kind of a research and development playground. On the front end of the application, so we got those two projects. This is the front end now. The front end loads up after that page gets served. Routes, Razor kicks in, and we've got two pages. We've got home that we can navigate to, which is the default, and we've got our chat page that we can navigate to. There's no real interactivity here yet. We're just doing this kind of raw through HTTP client and some pre-programmed values. So we're just testing to make sure that we can make this API call at all, hit that endpoint. So we'll say on this page, we're going to inject an HTTP client, Got that. That gets resolved as an instance of HTTP. Then there's some plain text on the page that displays the user text and the response from the AI. Again, it's hard coded in. I don't have text boxes and stuff set up to make this look nice yet. It's kind of the point here. We got to this on the last. This is where we wanted to get on the last show. Is just to prove that we can proxy this call through our API up to Azure OpenAI, and then get a response through that chain back. So the initial message that we're going to set up is, what is your favorite scary movie? We don't have a response yet. That will come with the initialization of the page. When the page initializes, we'll send that message to the server, wait for a response back, and then fill this response field. To do that in Blazor, we use HTTP client post as JSON async, which returns a string. So we're going to post a JSON message. When we take this string and send that to the server, it's this method will automatically serialize that as JSON, and then the server will get that and deserialize it into a string, perform our task, and send back a string that gets returned wrapped in a result where we can read it out. And once we read it out, the page will refresh with our message in it. So that's the full application right now. That's the entire loop and chain of command that we've got going on. If we run the app, we should be able to send that message, get one back, and display it on the screen. It sounds like a lot, but we needed to get this kind of set up to establish that our APIs are working. So here's our hello world page. This one doesn't have anything to do with the AI. This is just a safe place for us to land without catching errors, making sure our app works right. If I click on chat, you'll notice a slight delay there. We asked it, what is your favorite scary movie? And it just kind of responded, I'm a Terminator from 1998. Have you seen Sarah Connor? So it, let's try that again. Let's see if it has a scary movie. And again, we gotta, so it doesn't seem to have an opinion of movies. So it's just going to keep repeating itself that it's a Terminator. We might want to put some other questions in there. Notice I have to refresh the page to get, there we go. That's a little bit better of a response. At least we know it's kind of exercising something there. I have to refresh the page because it has no chat history. So that's the only way to really invoke that that API again, is to refresh the page. I could put a button in here to kind of do that, but we haven't got that far yet. So what is your favorite scary movie? I'm a Terminator from 1998. Have you seen Sarah Connor? I don't have the capability to have a favorite scary movie. My main goal is to find and locate Sarah Connor. It's very persistent, as a Terminator would be, right? All right. So we've got the basic chat capabilities. Let's move this to something that looks a little bit better. Right now we've got a basic. Let's run it one more time. We've got a basic app here. It's got the traditional Blazor look and feel to it. This is the template that you get with Blazor. There's an ongoing thread right now that this template isn't the best. It needs to be revamped. Blazor came out 5 years ago. There haven't been any significant changes here. I agree with that thread. There's some accessibility issues. There's all the other stuff. It's just not the best setup. I don't think it ever was intentionally made to be the best thing. It's, it's to get started, and it's doing what it, we got started. We did that. We need to do something better here. As you probably know, if you're watching this show, if you've ever heard of anything I've ever done, I work for Progress. Let's see. I need to get a non-sandboxed browser open to do this. And I work on the product of Telerik UI for Blazor. Now we have not only just 100 UI components, but theming capabilities and all sorts of stuff. Um, and while this show's not like a direct, like I'm not going to beat you over the head with marketing and stuff, I am going to use our tools because I've always used them and they do what we need to do. Like I need to set up something that looks better. I need other components to make anything really interesting. If we want to do anything with AI that is outside of just typing in a text box and getting text back, we're going to need UI components. We're going to need stuff, whether it's charts, whether it's maybe an HTML editor. If we want to make a markdown editor, for example, I need more than just a basic text box. I need toolbars, I need buttons. So we're going to use this. But even better than just using this, I'm going to use something that we just released just a few months ago. And that is our templates and building blocks, which are for Angular, React, and Blazor. And with Blazor, let's see, am I signed in? Let me sign in real quick so these light up properly. You will see a different experience on your end because you don't have a license. If you do have a license, these things will light up the way you see them on my screen. We have different pages and these different templates that we can use that also have some building blocks to kind of facilitate building out different types of applications. So we've got the usual like landing page. This is going to be your marketing page. That's marketing whatever it is that you're building. This is kind of a cool like car marketing page. You have a fancy new product. It could be anything, cell phone, whatever. And then all of the different pieces that go into that design. And these are full designs that work with all of our UI components. And there's some nice landing pages here. We also have listing pages, and these are the ones that have kind of like the knobs and switches to do filtering, maybe like your Amazon, like a rental page, that type of stuff, where you're dialing in different filters to find houses, that sort of thing. There's that type, and then there's the dashboard. This is probably where we'll need to get some code from. And these are very similar. They're kind of different themes on the same idea. So we've got, I kind of like that one. That one's pretty nice. Social management dashboard. We've got fintech dashboard, manufacturing dashboard. Kind of got some dark theme ones, some light theme ones. All of them are themable, but this gives you a good starting place. They have sidebars with navigation and that sort of stuff. And we could take a look at this one. This would be probably a good fit for what we're doing because we can come in here and add different examples from the AI services that are available and APIs, list those down the sidebar, click on those, go in and have different demos to run. Whether we're doing some semantic kernel, some function calling, we could build out what each one of those examples does and have that playground. So this is going to be our sandbox to play in. I kind of like this one. I wish Chris was here to kind of give me some feedback on it, but again, he's busy working, he's traveling. I totally understand what that's like. So the social management one looks pretty good. I like that one. Let's see. Each of these two we can mix and match pieces out of. Just because we pick one doesn't mean we're completely stuck with that exact theme and style and all of it. So I would either pick maybe that social media dashboard or like this healthcare admin has kind of that similar look and feel to it. A little bit more of the same. We've got our sidebar and some nice menus that we can drop down, um, and we can display whatever we want here in this main content area. This one's a little bit of a more clean theme. The other one I think was a little more fun. I like this one a little bit more. I think we'll grab this one and get going from here. So let's do that. Let's add this to our application. It's going to kind of replace our app in some ways. These are kind of templates on their own. I could have got started here, but wanted to kind of step through the right motions, showing how you do that with the standard file new project template. Let's go ahead and download the Blazor version of this. Again, these are available for Angular, React, and Blazor. They do require the Telerik UI components because they're embedded in some of the features of these templates. Let's go ahead and extract this out out of the zip, and then we'll take the full zip file here, and we will copy the contents of that zip file. And then we'll go over to Visual Studio here. Let's stop our project from running. And let's go into this mode here. And I'm going to create another. And let's go into folder view. I'm going to open this in File Explorer. And then now that we're in File Explorer, I'm going to create a new folder under here. And we'll say building blocks in there. I'm going to dump all of that code in my building blocks folder. And that is a full app. So we should be able to come in and say add existing project. Now I have my building blocks, and yes, I trust it. There we go. And let's switch over to that. So I've got three projects now. Three projects. I've got the client and server project that is our little demo that I showed you a minute ago. We're going to enhance that. I temporarily am putting this here. It won't stay there forever. I'm just using it kind of as a base to get myself moving. And it is also a Blazor application. I should be able to just run. Let's build this out. Let's see what we get. I have all of the Telerik dependencies already installed in my system. It will pull the NuGet feeds it needs for this, and look at that. It's up and running. I like it. It looks good. That's what I just looked at on the web. And click on all the stuff in here, and it's interactive. So it looks like we are good to go. These are all just placeholders. They don't really have any functionality built in. This is where we need to come in and build the things that we want to build. So there's going to be a lot of placeholder stuff in here. We'll dig through some of that, weed it out, and merge it into our application. Let's see what we've got. So we've got a components folder, we've got a models folder. The models is going to run all of those little widgets that you saw on the main menu there. Let's close out all of this stuff in the background. So this is just for the demos that are in that template. We're probably not going to use all of that. We'll probably save the drawer item, compact card model maybe. So stuff like this will be kind of tossing out as appointments, healthcare stuff. Any of that will get tossed out. So let's try to start merging this over. I don't want to use like any of the namespaces and stuff, so this might seem a little clunky at first while we get moving, but we can get this moved over pretty effortlessly. So I'm gonna go. Let's try to think the easiest way to set this up. Let's do a. I want to put this solution explorer in its own window. I'm trying to remember how to do this. I know I can scope to this. I don't want to just scope to it. I want another Explorer window, and I'm trying to remember how to do that. How to get multiple Solution Explorer windows open. There's a way to like duplicate this window. Which way is it? Does anybody remember in chat how to do that? It's not something I do a lot. I know there's a way to mirror the Solution Explorer, though, to get more than one open. I thought you would right-click on it, and then there was a menu for it. New Solution Explorer view. There we go. So we'll do that. And let's see if we can pin that below. I'd like to kind of scope this out so I can move these things around really quickly. And then we're mainly focused on the client side of this right now. And there may be some assets we need to move to the server as well. I'll just keep that the way it is. But I don't want to lose scope of this healthcare bit, so I want to keep that there. Let's start with the server stuff first. I know some of this has to go there. We probably want to do away with the Blazor, or so the Bootstrap stuff that's in here. So let's go ahead and replace this folder. This one's got its own everything. So we'll drop this entire folder out and empty that out. And then we can take common and dashboard and move those up into our WW root. Verify that's there. Those are going to go in our server. Server is responsible for the static assets. So we'll move that over. This Blazor folder is just a notice, which is all the copyright stuff, what bits belong to, because it's built on open source. We don't need that anymore. Go ahead and drop that out of there. Legal will be mad when I ship this. I'll probably put it back. I probably should put that back, just to make some folks happy. I'll put it up in there. I promise I'll do that later. All right. The Telerik root component. We're going to need to move this to our main layout. Our Telerik root component will go in our main layout, which that's our client. So we'll save that for the client. Let's see. Is there anything in error? Sure, it won't hurt if I move that over. Pages. Error is the only thing that goes to the server side. We'll go ahead and drop the error out of that and put the dashboard error in there. All right. Imports.razor. We will need to add some of these as well. So we'll add the Telerik bits to that. These are lighting up because we need to add our dependency for Telerik UI for Blazor. So let's go ahead and do that right now as well. So this line, package reference, I'll copy out and drop in here. And that should satisfy the Telerik UI for Blazor on the server. We don't always need it on the server, but I have a feeling we're going to want it there. I'm going to put it on the client as well and copy paste, just kind of fizzled there. Copy and paste. We'll drop that in both places just to make sure that our client and server both have those dependencies. All right. Chat room, you're a bit quiet today. Bit quiet for a Friday. Gotta spice things up a little bit, get everybody motivated. Let's see here. Oh, that's weird. I am getting comments. My bad. My chat, I have a chat window that's not updating, so I apologize for not being responsive to chat. I thought you guys were being quiet. My window is frozen. Corey, welcome to the show. Thindle, how are you doing? Yeah, I didn't, I kept this thing open on the screen all this time, and I'm like, why is everybody so chill today? Phil Snable, welcome. The editor is better today after I uninstalled release candidate. Yeah. Fun fact, I discovered that if you use any SSR pages, you lose interactivity in the layout file. Even if it's used as an interactive page. There be dragons with the interactivity modes. There are some gotchas in there. Yeah. Let's see. All right. So we've got Telerik moved and installed to there. Let's see what else we've got in here. Dashboard. This is our dashboard page, I believe. Yeah, this is our route page. So we're going to be using that. We're not going to call it healthcare though. So I'm going to take this page. This is the main page. If I open this demo page up, so the dashboard app, this is the page we want to move to our project. Right now, this is the root page. We're going to replace our home page with that page. So I'm going to take this healthcare page and I'm going to move that directly into, oh boy, is lighting up. This is all this broken red stuff here is all the model info that I said was part of this models bit. I'm actually going to remove that. I'm going to remove that right straight out of there. And I'm going to take, maybe I'm not. I'm going to leave it there for now. We'll move the models over and then I'll pull them out slowly. We're not going to use hardly any of them, but it's going to make the process easier, I think, if it's not completely broken. And then it has a code behind page. So I want to make sure that code behind page gets moved as well. So we'll move that over and we'll right click here and say create code behind for home.razor, and we'll paste in all of this stuff. All right. So all of this red underscored stuff we'll fix up in just a minute. All right. So we're still on the client. We've moved our dashboard page over. We have our error page, imports.razor. We need to fix that again. We've got two imports.razors. No, we did that once on the server. Need to do it on the client too. App.razor. App.razor on our project lives on the server. So we'll go ahead and go to the server side. And we need to find app.razor on the server and replace the code on it. And so app.razor will now have, let's paste this side by side for a minute because some of it is going to be slightly different. We want to keep these three lines. Well, no, we don't want bootstrap. We don't want app. So we want to get rid of those. But what I don't want to do is bring in this line, this healthcare template. This is isolated CSS. I don't want that. So what I really want to do is take this isolated CSS and replace that one with it. And then the rest of it, viewport's good, / good, favicon is good. That's the line I just pasted in. That's good. These are my theme files, the reset, and my dependencies. Now I can get rid of this. Oops, I don't want to go too far. They're almost deleted the doc type. Don't do that. All right, so just replaced app.razor with the template version of it. Routes.razor should be good. I shouldn't have to touch routes.razor now. Routes is the outermost component. This one has a lot of like namespace stuff in it, and it's gonna possibly be different from one app to the other. So we'll just leave that one alone. I think that one's good the way it is. Then we can copy this models folder out and into our client project. We may need to go in that and change some namespaces around. And then let's see, there's probably a few things in the program CS as well. We've got almost nothing in our program CS. There is a lot more going on in this one, mainly because this is a all server app. We've got all the Razor component stuff. We've got culture info. Let's go ahead and take that and set. Where's that being used? Culture info. That's just global. We'll go ahead and take that and put it in our app as well. So I need coloring on. I'm having a hard time here coloring. I want it by project. Did you guys see that? This is the new tab interface. I don't know if I'm a fan of it yet or not. Instead of having the tabs across the top, they're on the right-hand side. And when you do that, it's kind of hard to rationalize where things are. So if you're using this, make sure you go in and turn on color. I like by project. You can do it by file extension, regular expression if you really don't like yourself, or no coloring at all. So project is what I like to have that set on. Jumping on the road, Thindle, and drive careful, my friend. Don't be too distracted. Blazor's not worth it. So this tells me now where these tabs belong. Always thought it was supposed to be alphabetical as opposed to last used. Was there a sort in there that I missed? Sort alphabetically. Recently opened. I might actually like that. Sort by recently opened first. Let's do that. That I like that. Thank you, Corey. I like that better. It definitely needs the coloring though. And notice like up here, it's kind of nuanced, and you may or may not have noticed, but there's like a little line that goes through the editor window that corresponds to the tab color. So I've got program CS open, so I know I can look down here and see things related to it. I like that. It's really been something that I'm trying to get used to. Still, again, not sure if I like it. And then, of course, Visual Studio, something's crashing in the editor itself. I might need to reboot it because reasons I don't know. I kind of wish this was like not stuck open all the time. I wish it was self-collapsing. I wish it auto hid. If anybody knows if it auto hides. Oh, you can pin these too. I didn't realize I had a little pin on there. I tend to not keep a lot of tabs open when I have them across the top. This kind of keeps a lot more tabs open than I'm used to. So I may go back. I'm not sure. Not sure if this is something I like or not. Um, a lot of people seem to like it though. So we're gonna take our culture info. I don't think I ever put that on the program CS, and we'll drop that. I don't know if that works. Does that work on the browser? It's something I haven't really looked at. I don't remember if that works in the browser or not, but we'll put it there. And then we'll go to program CS on the server. And then where did that line go? Go back to this one real quick. Okay, so we need that too. We'll go ahead and take that. We actually need that on the client. So this went right before build. Drop that right before build there. And then back over to the client, we want to get add Telerik UI for Blazor, drop it in. This can go builder. I put this all in the wrong spot. That goes there. And this goes after it. There's our add Telerik components. And wondering if there's anything else I missed because we're in program CS. This is the last step. I think I got it all. Let's maybe fire up our app, and we'll do that by switching to the server project and hitting run. That'll load our server and client projects together. And no, I missed something. It's probably some namespace stuff. It is. So this drawer item, let's see, cannot convert from. So it is a namespace thing, I believe. So I've got healthcare templates drawer item to Telerik Blazor component drawer item. So let's see if we've got things scoped out correctly. Healthcare dashboard. And that is on here. I'm going to drop all of these tabs. I wish it had a way to kill all of them as a group. Close all. Float all. If I do all, that's all. That wasn't what I wanted. I can get rid of the Solution Explorer now. We're almost done with that healthcare template. So let's see, we've only got an error page there. There shouldn't be anything in our server anymore. Let's focus in on this client. Let's focus in. Where is that thing again? Scope to this and main layout. Oh, we might have missed that one. Dashboard, healthcare, drawer item. So it's got that healthcare namespace there. And then on home.razor, it's having a conflict on that drawer item. So it's seeing two namespaces or two classes with two different namespaces, but the class has the same name. And there's probably either something in imports.razor I missed, or I plan on moving this whole namespace over. So that one uses the healthcare drawer item. So this is hierarchical, and it has children with drawer item there. Let's go back to home for a second. Let's see, where is it picking this up at? Down here. I believe it does have an error, but it looks like some of the syntax highlighting might be broken, and we've got an exception up here. I'm going to close Visual Studio. close Visual Studio and reopen it because Visual Studio has not been kind to me on the stream in the past. Reopen our project and see if it still probably is going to have an error, but the syntax highlighting got better. That's going to help me figure out what exactly is going on. It says no issues found this time. Let's try that again. Building failed. Okay, it does have this conflict here of, let's see, it says Telerik Blazor drawer item requires one type argument. That's because it's got the wrong drawer item. You know what? Probably be easy to do instead of calling this drawer item. That has that conflict. Let's change that. Rename this guy to drawer. Let's change it to drawer data item. Just throw data, the word data in there. Just give it a clear name that's different than this one that it's got a conflict with. And now, if I go on this page, where's that at? Drawer data item. Let's do this on. Oops. I want to find those and replace them with that in the current document. Go. And we're missing a using statement. That's probably what did it to begin with. But that will surefire kill that error, I bet. No, it's not. Okay, let's see what else it's got. That killed that error. We got another drawer data items does not contain a definition. Oh, there's a helper method in here too. I might have been a little too ham-handed with that rename. Let's try this first. Generate door. Don't want to. I copied that whole thing out. I don't know how the other project didn't hit this same conflict. How is that? Let's look at their. So we've got healthcare.razor. Did I not get those using statements? This is on the code behind for one. So I probably need to look at that. Oh, there we go. I didn't grab the top of that. It helps if you copy all the code, right? Let's go back and fix drawer item. Back to drawer data, or take the data off of that. Yeah, drawer item. Revert that change back. And we still got something unhappy here. Let's go into home razor and make sure. Yeah, we've got both using statements there. This one here. Let's do a rebuild. It did go down to one error. Must have a return type. How did that? How does home.razor.cs? Did it? I must have hit a delete key or something on that. Did I just accidentally delete code? I bet I did. No, that doesn't have a return type. Because it's a constructor. That's a constructor. Why is a constructor throwing? Oh, because it's not a constructor if I change the name of the page, right? It should be home. It's like 0 references. What kind of method is this? Oh yeah, it was the constructor and I put it in home instead of healthcare. because I want this to be my homepage, which the name really doesn't matter. I'm going to try to weed out all the healthcare stuff soon because it's not a healthcare page. We'll see if we can run this again. And unexpected error. A component of type header outlet has a render mode of interactive server, but required endpoints are not mapped. Yes, that is correct. That is on me. So, on the server part for app.razor, this should have been left alone. And do I have Git working on this? I don't have Git. I don't have a source control enabled. I want this to be a new WebAssembly, no, interactive WebAssembly render mode. Re-render false. Did I get this right the first try? Is that right? That's how you turn pre-rendering off, right? Let's try that again. So I just merged in this template with my application. And close. Pretty close. So what I've got here is this page being rendered inside of the old main layout. It's pretty close. We do have an error of some kind cropping up too. Let's see what that is. Oof. All right. Microsoft Web Components rendering exception, object not set to reference. Find breadcrumb on initialized. Something to do with a breadcrumb component. Something we'll have to figure out in a few minutes. Let's fix that rendering error first. So on the pages, we've got the layout, main layout. What I really want to do is gut this homepage and move all of it to my main layout. I do want to keep parts of this. I want to keep the Telerik app bar. So let's collapse that. I want to keep the Telerik drawer. The drawer component has drawer content. The drawer content I don't want to keep. I want to get all that and delete it. And in this drawer content is essentially where I want my my app to render. So this goes, all of this is going to go from here into, let's take all of it up to here. The editor is blowing up again. Dude, Visual Studio, open log file. Visual Studio is just throwing up again for the second show in a row. What is it trying to tell me? What is blowing up? Language server, definition, endpoint. So language server blew up. That's not a good thing, guys. All right. So the Razor editor looks like it blew up, which is why the syntax highlighting went nuts. a few minutes ago, and I had to restart. So let's see. Get past that distraction and back on to task at hand here. We want to take the home page and start moving. I've got the wrong one. We want, okay, this is the right home page. I want to move over to main layout, and I want to merge in this to the main layout. Now I need the body. The body is going to go in drawer content. There is some code behindy stuff failing here. So I've got a little feedback to give to our folks on these templates. We've got two code sections, essentially. There may be a reason to this, but we've got a code behind as well. So we've got a code behind and a code section. We should probably pick one. Probably shouldn't be two of those. One or the other. Choose a lane. Let's see. Let's move these using statements up to the top. We're not going to use a page directive here. We can keep the UI error message, and we're going to drop this whole thing here. We're not going to have a page title, and we'll temporarily keep that CSS stuff there, but that needs to get fixed later. On menu click, top navigation, all of that is failing because we need to move the code from home CS over to one in the main layout. So main layout, we will add a code behind. Copy all this out. Main layout.razor. .cs. And drop this in. Need to make sure I change this to home, main layout. And the namespace is going to be different. This is client, it's not pages, client dot, components dot layout. So this is going to be a nuisance again. Main layout. All right, merge that in, and then home dot razor. We can clean up because we've taken all of that over to the main layout. So delete that. Delete the code behind. Layout, pages, home, home.razor.cs, delete that. That's gone. So home should have virtually nothing in it. And we'll put a title here. H1. Hello world. Let's save our main layout. I don't see any errors. Let's go ahead and run it and see what we get. And I think we'll be to the point where we've got our shell and we can go in and delete all of the placeholder stuff. We got all these things. I'm going to go to 100% for a minute just to see. We've got our shell. Look at that. We've got a nice collapsible UI over here. This This don't look like an H1 though. Why does it not look like an H1? It says hello world. Hello world, tab index one. Okay, that's fine. No H1 style? Missing us H1 styles for some reason. Feel like there's a style sheet missing somewhere. Let me see. Let's go back. I'm glad I didn't delete the template yet. Let's go see on the homepage that they had for an example what. There's a lot of markup here. Drawer content. They don't have an H1 in here. There is no H1. Let's go look back at. Maybe they just don't really. Are there maybe like wrappers around some of this stuff? Let's see what we got. There's an H1. So they put a bunch of classes on it to style it. Expected kind of a default H1 there. Let's put that back in. These classes are part of the Kendo UI library or the Telerik UI, the design system. So this should, see if the word dashboard comes in, better looking. There we go. That's more like what they had. Let's do a little side-by-side comparison and make sure I got everything moved over correctly. Yeah, let's do this the easy way. We'll come in and run debug, run without debugging, and then go back to our project, run the other template without debugging, run, debug, run without debugging. We get these side by side now. There is some padding and stuff missing. There's probably some classes I didn't copy over. I have a feeling Chris is going to have some opinions, which I want to hear, being a front-end guy. We have a Tailwind-like syntax that we use. I'm not a big fan of Tailwind. I understand why we're using it here, why it exists, but still not my preferred mode of operation. Hey, Ed, thanks for streaming. Enjoy watching Blazor streams. They help me with my own projects. Awesome. Glad you enjoy it. Hopefully you're learning something. I'm learning a little bit today myself. It always seems to happen on the live shows. All right. I think there's a wrapper that I missed that goes around all that stuff. So we'll go ahead and make sure we've got that wrapper set up, and then I think we're done with the UI setup here, and then we'll go in the sidebar and clear it out. Healthcare.razor. This wrapper, I think, is what I'm missing. So this whole Tailwind discussion, where we essentially have our own design system that functions very similar to what Tailwind does, which it probably looks almost identical, except like ours has this K dash on the front of it that indicates it's Kendo UI, which is the design system that runs Telerik UI for Blazor. But it does the whole PX2, PX small. So these are all padding. So like you've got all these padding values for all these different things. It's very difficult to decipher this big long chain of classes that's embedded in here. I kind of get the gist of what's happening. This is all just padding basically, and then sets the background to light. I need this line. What the downside of the whole, what do they call this type of thing? This atomic utility design stuff. It looks like garbage in HTML. But what's nice is I can just copy it and then bring it over to this other project and paste it, and it just works. That's the nice part of it. It makes like the whole like copy it from a documented source and just paste it in your project really easy, which is great for like prototyping and stuff like that. But then you get sacked with these huge class names, which I've seen plugins to actually like put ellipsis and stuff in there to replace them. Not a fan of the final result of that. But it makes the system that we're using possible. Like the whole, I'm going to go here, look at documentation, copy something out of my documentation and paste it directly in HTML, and it just works. Like it's a necessary evil to have that. So you will see me complain about it and use it at the same time. It's just the nature of the beast. That's web development for you these days. We're back to inline styles because they're simple and they work sometimes. They've been kind of improved with what's it called? CSS variables. So we can do a lot more. They're not as hampered as they were in the past. All right. That is essentially what we wanted. And then this will, I don't know why it doesn't auto height in. I'm not sure it did to begin with. I'm going to go check that though. What I mean auto height is there's a background color set here. It's like a light bluish color. Might be hard to see on stream, but right. Ah, come on. Zoom in. Zoom in. There we go. This is our background here. And if there's content in here, it will fill the page. Right now there's no content, so there's like a white edge to it. And it looks silly when you don't have a lot of content. I want to go back to the other project that has all the dashboardy stuff in it. Back to the template one more time. We'll probably remove the template after this. Start without debugging, just in case I want to do a little side-by-side view of it. And I think I already had it running. That's why I looked kind of puzzled there. All right, it was up in the background. Let's go in here and find that same tag we have in our app. You inspect element. There's our H1. There's our wrapper. There is a grid. Okay, that grid is for those items. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start wiping out stuff. There we go. Missing a footer? Am I missing a footer? I think I deleted the footer too. But when I take out the content, boom, that's what happens. The footer comes up. And getting around that is a pain. I like it to extend all the way down. It's kind of a juggling act though. So you'll see people see we left it out here. It is something that you can get around. Like this seems to do it over here. I don't know why we didn't do it on this side. It's one of those things like you have a trade-off again. Like I can have the empty space fill up and this footer be sticky at the bottom, but then there's certain scenarios where you overflow that area and it throws scroll bars in weird places, and then you're like constantly chasing after it with CSS to fix it. So it's probably just easier to leave it out and let your content fill the pages. And when you have pages that have little to no content on them, they just kind of, I don't know, they look incomplete. So you just kind of pick your battles, I suppose. They are things that you can fix, but sometimes it's not worth fixing, if that makes sense. Let's see here. We've got navmenu.razor we can get rid of. I want to go back to the healthcare template first. Sorry if I got a noisy scroll wheel. Probably picking that up on the mic, but I'm going to come over and grab that. That is our footer. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to paste this in. Actually, I feel like this is in the wrong spot. I shouldn't be pasting it here, but let's go ahead and get all of our pasting done first. There's our footer. I'm going to grab all of it one more time. I'm going to go over to main layout. Wrong one. Main layout.razor. And I'm going to put this inside of content. It belongs in the body section. Drop that there. I'm going to take out the H1. Let's do this first. There. Move the body where the H1 is. Rip the H1 out. And go back here and just keep the H1. So what I essentially did is moved that footer and the wrapper white space part of it to the main layout level. And then now each page can have an H1 tag on it. And all of the other stuff is templated out. So that looks a lot better, but I missed a step. Let's go back over to main layout one more time. And the closing tag needs to go here, like that. And it did not hot reload. Let's go ahead and reload it ourselves. And that should fix our layout completely. There we go. That's how it should look. Now we can put content inside of this. We're going to go ahead and comment out all of that as well. Let's see, where is that section? Main layout. We've got our app bar section, and we've got our drawer template, which is all list items at the moment. Drawer items to render. Okay, where is this list being built up? There we go. Drawer items, render drawer items. Items to render. It keeps going back there. Where are these all listed at? So there's got to be a model driving this somewhere. Main layout. Drawer items expanded. Where are we loading them from? Where are we loading the drawer items in? There should be like a get drawer items or something. Drawer items for we're using render trees in here? Okay. And we kind of got a custom component, I guess, doing all of this work. Drawer data. There we go. Healthcare data helper, drawer items. We don't have all of these drawer items anymore. Let's go ahead and remove all but, well, let's ditch all of them. All of our drawer items are gone. And then we'll say new let's copy that one faster and uncomment it again. And then we'll duplicate it. So we've got dashboard. We should be able to say URL. Is there no URL? Interesting. Level, separator, expanded. There's no navigation. Drawer item does not have a navigation on it. We are going to have to become developers now to write some of our own code here. We need to add a URL to the drawer items. They don't have a route. It should be built in though. URL, string URL get set. URL is going to be a nullable string because there are other modes to this. There's an is separator, which would cause that to be null sometime. And then we can go back to main layout, or no, this helper. And then we say URL equals slash, that's our root. And then the second one is going to be URL, and we have a chat page slash chat. Let's see if this does anything for us. And hopefully we'll have a menu that has 2 items on it. And one of those items we can click on and it didn't go anywhere. So we need to see what's rendering that and make it a navigation item. So let's see, we render out, let's see, we don't have any cards anymore. Let's see if I can safely remove some of the boilerplate that's in here now. Bed occupancy, this is all stuff from the template, departments, employee data, appointments, infection rates. Sounds like a party, y'all. Let's drop all that, clean that up. I don't see any build issues, so that was all demo stuff that we don't need. Over in main layout, let's see where we're rendering. Main layout.razor, then we got main layout, which also has some code in it. Still feel like, let's try and move that. Take this section. I keep getting lost because it's in 2 places. So feedback to our team. We need to move those all into one place if we can. Oh, there's Razor code in it. That's why we can't. Figured there was a reason. All right. So this has some custom render stuff in it. And this is the list item on the drawer. So if it has children, if it doesn't have children, if item children any is false, has no children, right? Drawer toggle item expanded. Okay. If it's a separator, it's going to draw a separator. If it is a normal item, it's going to write the text in the icon. So here is where I need to say, let's do as an if statement first. We can always refactor later that if item dot URL, item is not null. Actually, I want to use if string dot is null or white space item dot URL, and we will negate that. So if it is not null or not white space, then we want to render a link. href equals at item.url, And then we want at item. Let's see. Yeah, we can refactor later. Just gonna drop all of that into the href. And then else. So we're gonna wrap it with a URL if it's a link, and if it's not a link, or if it's null, then we'll just render the text. Let's see if that does the trick. And I broke it. That doesn't look right. It's a styling issue, plus it just doesn't work. Like, what did I do? Is there an error? There's an error. Telerik component on requested view requires a Telerik root component. How did I miss the Telerik root component? How did I miss the Telerik root component? That should have been in here somewhere. I bet it was in the, let's see, healthcare template layout, main layout. Yep, there it is. So let's do this. Let's take this whole thing. And we're going to come up to our client app under layout. And we're going to add a new Razor component. We'll call this one root layout. And in root layout, we are going to drop this bit. And in here, we will say the layout, root layout. And then we can take that out of there. That's going to wrap everything in a root component, root layout component. And we will get the Telerik root component, which is kind of a dependency provider, and render everything inside of it. And then we can move this Blazor UI error thing out to the outside of it. We got enough markup going on in here. We don't need any more. So we can break that piece out. And then let's render this again. That'll fix the error. I don't think it's going to fix the coloring issue. I think we got to we're going to have to write a style there, and still no navigation. Womp womp. No errors, but no navigation. What is happening here? So our UL is not formed rightly. Certain ARIA ARIA roles must contain particular children. Got a semantic issue in here? Is that what it is? Something with the semantics of our list item it doesn't like. That's not good for accessibility. I don't know if it's something I caused or not. Is it stuff that I put in the href that doesn't belong there? We've got two spans. I thought spans were free to add to. Let's see what the suggested fixes are. Shift click to fix. What is it recommending? UL. Oh, it's asking for some ARIA info, but it's not anything that should cause. I mean, it is something I want to fix, but that's not what's causing this to not be clickable. Why is our route not routing? /chat. Page is not working right now. Okay. Do I have the wrong slash in there? Like, what is this doing? Chat. All of a sudden our chat doesn't work? Is it not called chat? Did I call it something else? I thought we had, oh, it's AI chat. Well, that would help. Having the right route in there would help, would it not? I wish we had hard-coded routes. I really wish we did. Type safe routes would be nice. There we go. So I will probably do more work around that. Run that again. That's why it's not navigating. The coloring, I think, is going to be just we need to style it ourselves because that menu bar didn't have styling applied for links. Not entirely sure why. Oh, come on. To prevent an unsafe abort when evaluating a function. System.reflection assembly load form. All threads were allowed. Okay. Cool story, Visual Studio. Glad you alerted me to that. And still no routing. /AI chat. Go directly to it and I get output from it. The page works, but I'm clicking links and not, am I not clicking in the right, didn't click in the right place. You got to click right on the link. Right on it. You click in the white space around it, it toggles the component, but it doesn't navigate. So I'll have to research that one and figure that out. Yeah. Wrapping the entire, the on click. Oh, there's an on click that I didn't see. Okay. There was an on click event. So what I probably need to do is let's roll this change back a little bit. I really need to get my Git repo added to this so I could do that easier. On click, when I do on click, I want to call navigation. I don't know if I don't have navigation in here yet. I need to add that. Navigation manager needs to come in and handle this. That would be the right way to do it. I've got Copilot. I always forget about this. Let's see. So on main layout, I'm going to come right here in fields and I'm going to press Alt/. I'm going to say add navigation manager to my Razor code behind, because I can't remember the exact syntax for the navigation manager. So it being the AI show, we're going to use Copilot to do it. Let's see what it comes back with. I've had an issue with this before. I'm going to see if anybody else is using Copilot, if they've seen this. I don't know if it's the tab layout I'm using or what, but this is supposed to happen in line, I believe. And it's like generating like a whole miscellaneous file. I don't know if that's right or not. So where did it even add? Okay, so there's our navigation manager. Just it added a property of navigation manager. And is there, it should be with like dependency injection and the whole 9 yards. I don't see any of that. It just added a private field named navigation manager. Like, that's not what I asked for. So I'm gonna cancel. That's not what I want. And then I've got an empty miscellaneous page. Like, it should be inlining it. No suggested changes. Think I might need to reinstall my Copilot or something. There's the response. That's what I got. That's not what I want. Let's do a new chat. How do I add Navigation Manager in an ASP.NET Blazor WebAssembly application? Use the latest version of .NET 8. Take care, Thindle. I guess you're getting ready to go to bed there, my friend. Let's see. So it still has context. Okay, include active document. Navigation Manager is an injected. Is okay. Where did it do that? So just spit me back. Oh, there it is. Navigation Manager inject. There we go. So it didn't do that before. I guess I asked the question better, maybe. Let's go back over to main layout and constructors. This is a code behind file, so the code that it's giving me still isn't really great. Let's go over to main layout. Look here. Are we doing any? Yeah, we're not doing any inherits layout using, but no injection. So, or we need to. Oh wait, it did give me the right one. That's. I was thinking it gave me the Razor version of it. So it did give me the right version of it. So it's injected, and then on the drawer select, use. That's interesting. It knew that's where I was trying to do it. I wish it would have just gave me the code in line, insert a new file. Is that going to work? Miscellaneous files. Main layout.cs. That's not right. Did it add that to my project? I hope not. I can save it. I don't want to save it. Open containing folder. Okay, so it's not a real file. It's like a virtual file. All right. So this is where it's setting it. I really just wanted it to shove it in here. I can't get the inline code editor part of it to work. It was working before. This was a working piece of software at one point. There we go. And that's the other piece of code it added. And I just am grabbing this out of experience. I know what I'm looking for. I mean, it did essentially like tell me what it did, but it didn't say what lines. But I mean, it's doing an okay job, but having to hunt peck a little bit too much here. Not overall impressed. Don't save. So call the URL, and that's the only two changes I needed. That should do it, I think. Let's see what we've got. And if we can navigate to this page, there we go. We've got our dashboard. We've got our chat. I'm going to do one more little tidying up here. That is, so our navigation drawer part, we don't need this nav menu.razor anymore. I'm going to also declare tab bankruptcy here. Close all tabs. Stop the app from running. I'm going to remove the healthcare template. It did its job. I have what I want. Took about an hour to get that in there. And then I've got a solid design now that I can work with. And we can go into Theme Builder and change design stuff with it all day long. Nav menu.razor can go. Delete. Goodbye. Clean that up. Models. I think everything but drawer item can go. Delete. Okay. Let's build that and see if I broke anything. Something failed. Healthcare helper. Oops, I didn't want to kill healthcare helper off. And I don't have an undo. All right, let's do this. Folder view. I still have it here somewhere. Open in File Explorer. I keep forgetting I don't have a, let's go back to models, dashboard, healthcare. I need to get Git enabled on here and not destroy things that I can't repair. So there's that. If you learned anything today, initialize Git. Healthcare data helper. And I'm going to have to go in and edit it again because I changed stuff in there and then I deleted it. And I don't have any of my changes because Git's not enabled. All right. Compact cards can go. Oh, my URL thing is gone. Let's go ahead and comment these out in case we want to look at any of them for reference. Probably don't need all 300 of these. Delete up most of those. I just want a couple examples in there. And then all of this stuff I don't believe is used anywhere. Get rid of all that crap. And then need to go back to my drawer item and add my my URL is there. Okay, good. That was somewhere else. That was in drawer item helper, or in drawer item, not the helper. So data helper, there's really not a lot in this anymore. It's just the few drawer items. Could probably merge that into drawer item itself. Or just rename this healthcare data and just name it data. Drawer item data or something. Let's try that. R drawer. I'm just going to call it drawer items. No, it doesn't like that. Drawer item data. Because that's all that's here now. The drawer item data, and it's going to populate that on that page. And then build. Succeeded, none failed, run. And here we are. There's our dashboard. Oh, the navigation didn't work. Why? No errors. What did I do? That broke the navigation bit. That wasn't in the helper, I don't think, right? Oh, it is in the helper. I didn't have any URLs in here anymore. URL equals root URL equals / AI chat save. And then I want to come over also to my AI chat page. This fancy H1 needs to come over here. And that is called AI chat. Run that again. This should look a little better. So I have my dashboard. We'll put some text in here to make it look better. There's our AI chat. User text, what is your favorite scary movie? And it responded. So everything's still working. So we've got a better system here. And then it's still, that still works. These never did anything yet. We might remove those later, might do something with that, who knows. But we have a nice, smooth looking dashboard that we can add lots of components and things to. So we're in a good place. These probably need like little bubbles or something. And we also have a chat component that we can bring in, make that look a lot better. We'll do that on the next show, I believe. I think we're about done for today. So we did quite a bit. We had our basic thing here. I need to take this healthcare manager logo off here too. This is it a SVG or what? Like, what do I need to do? But that would be my last thing, I think. Yeah, I need to get rid of that SVG. Boop, like that. Let's go find that guy and take him out. Because I know Chris is going to show up and he's going to be like, dude, why did we build a healthcare dashboard all of a sudden? So we'll see these healthcare things get weeded out as we go along. But I'm at least going to get this logo out of here in the meantime. Delete that. Let's throw in a span and say AI Funhouse. Save, restart. Maybe I can get hot reload to work next show. That was a joke. Hot reload doesn't work. Not for anybody ever. No, done at 9. Fingers crossed. Hot reload will work. Sorry, I'm trolling so hard on that. Like, I love Blazor and all, but that's been its kind of sticking point. So that's there. That span. It's kind of okay. We'll restyle that on the next show. Make that look a little bit nicer. We got a good template to get going with though. And this will be, oh, it's still schedule. Let's fix that before we leave. Schedule needs to be AI chat. And let's see. There we go. Let's do that. Let's see how that looks. I want to get this in a decent place before we go. But we've been live for about 2 hours here. And there, that looks better. So I changed the logo up top, or the icons up top. Got our dashboard. We've got the official logo of all AI, which is the sparkle. You know that, right? Like all AI, that is, like, we couldn't come up with anything else. We're just like, sparkles is it. It's definitely sparkles. Everybody settled on that, and that's the new hotness is the sparkle. All right. Let's do one more cleanup, and then I'll try to put this in Git. Don't know if I'm going to share it on GitHub just yet. There are some things in here I'm not sure that I'm able to share yet, so I need to make sure that that is okay. So let's go over to, where's that piece I was trying to clean up? Oh yeah. Want to go to my file explorer, and then now that I've got all my needs for these building blocks out of the way, I will delete them. They're no longer in there. And then this Azure Quick Start can go, and then I've got all this here now. Do little close all tabs, go to source control, hit Git. I am going to push this as a private repo initially, and create and push. Solution contains files outside the solution folder, which may not be included. See the output window for details. No. What am I including that is outside? Hang on a minute. Hang on a minute. What is it referencing that's outside? So it's telling me that when I'm trying to create a Git repo, that something I'm including here is outside of the scope of the Git file. Create a Git, but it said check the log file, and then it doesn't give you anywhere to look at the log file. Local path. Okay, so this is the path. Is that what the problem is? Select that folder. It was up. It was a folder too deep. That's what it was. Okay. Boom. Okay, I've got a private repo. I need to check with some folks and make sure I can make it public. And if I can, I will share it. For the meantime, we're going to leave it here where it is, and we will see you next week. Don't know exactly what we're going to do yet. We will probably either work on chat memory, implement the Telerik AI chat window. So it's a little bit more intuitive than what we have now. It's just hard-coded messages. Then we'll probably transition over to maybe Semantic Kernel, then do some other like the interesting things, maybe some AI vision and stuff like that. And we'll dive more into the APIs next time around. Take care, folks.